Hello, in this video I will be demonstrating how to use Godot's image class to create PNG files. You can see I've set up a 2D scene, called it images, and I've added a script. So the image class documentation is here, and what we want to do is create a new image, and we can create from data or create an empty image. I'm going to go with that one. We're going to make a white square of 32 pixels square. So we enter the width, the height, and whether to enable bitmaps or not, and a format for it. Clicking here we can see what formats are available. We have RGB A8. So let's go ahead and add some code. Let's go var img for our image and go image class dot new. This will give us a new instance of an image object, and let's go ahead and run the create method on it and enter our size 32 by 32 pixels, and bitmaps will say false, we don't care, and then one of these image formats, RGBA with 8 bits. I like the sound of that one, so go ahead and try that. Now that will give us a blank image, so we want to fill it with a color. We're going for white because it's easy to modulate that color to any other color later. So let's go image.fill and then our color. We use the color class and go color.white. And then this is a pretty powerful class because it's so easy to do these things like save as ping, save ping, and give it a name, just call it white.png, and you'll notice I've already done this. Anyway, let's run this scene, and it has run. Check there was no bugs, and it looks like we have a white square which is 32 pixels in size. Let's turn this into a standalone function that we can use again. Generate image and input the size, vector 2 for that, and then we want the color type color, and we can plug these values in, size dot x, size dot y, and our image format there, and then our color here, and a name for the file. We should have done that. Input that as a parameter. Okay, so then let's call the generate image function, and we're going to vector 2 and make that 32 by 32, and let's have a color, different color this time, just to test this function, and then our file name, even though it's not going to be white. So, oh, vector 2, we forgot to close the bracket. Let's run the scene, see what happens. Okay, it works. So go back to white, and then the other one we want to create is a larger one that is transparent. This will be like define the size of a composite image that we're going to make. So let's go there, generate image, and it's going to be 28 by 128. So we'll import the values of RGB, everything 0, 0, 0, 4 zeros. That will give us a transparent color. Just call it bg.png for the background, and hopefully that's going to work. Go ahead. No errors in the debugger, and we should have our background one there. Let's double click it. We can check here. Yes, we have a transparent one. Okay, let's go ahead and start adding some sprites. Add a child node of a sprite, create, and this one's going to be our background bg, So let's set its texture property. Okay, background, here we go. Dang son, I forgot it. Go back here. For people, I should have made the text bigger so people on small screens can read it. There you go. Now we go back to here. We have a background, and we want to position squares on this, so we're going to turn on our grid. That's the one. Yep. Let's zoom in. Move this over. Okay, there we are. Now let's make another, like a holder, placeholder for the sprite. We'll call this sprites. Makes it easier to select them later. And here we go. Come on. There we go. And make its texture white. Okay, and then let's duplicate this. I think we need about 7 of them. Now on our background, let's move it to here. So let's make some kind of a pattern. We want to make this into one image now by combining them all. First of all, let's set our colors of these squares of ours. Let's go here. Let's go SP for sprite in this node of our sprites. And get the children. Get children. So we're going to loop over all of our sprites, and we want to set the modulation factor of each of these to change the color. They're all white squares presently, so if we go sp.modulate and set it to a color. Okay, we're going to use change the hue of it from HSV, starting with the hue value, and it's got saturation and value and alpha defaulting to 1. So we're going to go from HSV and let's get it suggesting what we have to type in. I'm going to have a variable called hue, and then for the other values 1.0, 1.0. I think it's between 0 and 1. So we got hue, saturation, and value there. And up at the top, or here, let's have a var called hue and start it off with 0.0 because it needs to be a float. We can comment out these 2 lines, which we don't need anymore. And as we loop through, we're going to increment the value of the hue by a step. So let's go to var hue step, hue underscore step, and it will be equal to 1 divided by the number of background, number of sprites. So C dot get child count. There we go. So that will give us an equal. This will let it step through from 0 to 1 for the modulation values. And so we want to go each time we loop, we want to add the increment of the hue step to the value of the hue. Let's go there, do that. And so let's run that, and we should change all of the colors of our images there. Off we go. Yeah, we can see they're on the transparent background and they've all got different colors. And if we wanted pastel colors, let's change the saturation to 0.5 because I like pastels rather than saturated colors. There we go. Now next we would like to save this image as a PNG file. So it's trying to create a single image now from this composite image. Looking at the docs for the image class, you can see we have 2 functions, blend rect and blend rect mask. And these functions are applied to the image that we are going to add to. So let's go ahead and back to our code. We're going to start with our background image. So we're going to go var, let's go image equals, get the sprite, the background sprite, and we want to get its texture, and the way to extract the image from that texture is to go get data. There we go, I remembered. We're going to have a variable, we'll call it mod for the modulation value. We're going to use one of the blend functions. Let's get autocomplete working for the sprite. So let's have a new variable called sprite, and it is of type sprite, and this is equal to sp. Let's extract the image from the sprite and call it square, and that is equal to the sprite's texture bytes. So we get sprite texture. That gives us the square, which is white. Alright, let's make the sprite which is white. Let's change it to our modulation color by filling it. That's the best way, I think. Yes, mod, and that should give us a colored square. And then let's step back. We don't need a mask. We're just going to blend in this square. So get a reminder of what we have to type in. The source image is the square, and the rectangle we're going to use is the full size of it. Alright, for the size of the image, let's have a look. What have we got? Get size, there we go. So we're going to go square dot get size, and then the next thing we need is the position within the background image. Let's move all of these. So I think that's correct. The first one will have position at 0, great. Okay, the offset's relative to the corner of that. The sprite is sp.position, and that should work, I think. So again, we're going to save. We're going to go through this in a loop, and each one of the squares will be blended with the image, and then we will save it and see if we get what we expected. So copy that. Oops. After the loop, we're going to go to image, save PNG, and the file name is, let's call it composite. .png, and then go. Hopefully it's going to work. We have a problem. Invalid type in function blend rectangle. Base image cannot convert argument 2 from vector 2 to rectangle 2. That's true. So what we want to do is instead of inputting a vector 2, input a rectangle. So we go rectangle 2, and this has a starting position of 0, top left corner, which has to be vector 2. And can we get the 0 from somewhere else? No, let's just type it in, comma, and there, comma, and closing bracket there. So that will input a vector 2, a rectangle 2. Let's go again. It appears to have done something. These are white because they're no longer being modulated. And look at that, it has worked. We have a composite image, which is a texture 128 by 128. And let's look at our 2D scene. Let's make another sprite. Set its texture to this just to see if it's worked. Just a little test. There we can see we have a new image, new composite image made from code, and starting with these images. Okay, I'll put a link in the description to the online repository with this code, and hopefully I'll see you again in another video. Please like and subscribe. Goodbye.